Take a look at this map real quick. Each dot represents a container ship in the ocean. And as you can see, most of them are following a shipping route, like a road in the ocean. Now if we zoom in closer to Western Australia, there isn't much activity going on. However, question is, are big container ships really drivers of noise pollution in the ocean?
Every year, the coast of Western Australia becomes a highway for humpback whales, migrating south from their feeding grounds in Antarctica to the warm waters of Northern Australia. The humpback whale is listed as vulnerable under the Australian Environmental Protection and Biodiversity Conservation Act of 1999. Increasing coastal development is accelerating the environmental pressure on migrating marine megafauna. Humpback whales rely on stores for energy, and thus the whales are particularly vulnerable to the energetic costs of continued disturbance. This historic journey has become challenging, with a threat to their sanctuary growing under the water: underwater noise pollution. Western Australia's coast is one of the few places on the planet where you can witness such a pivotal part of the cycle. From Antarctica to the Kimberley coast, WA is the closest these animals are. In these waters, whales breed, give birth, and nurture the young, but noise pollution has raised serious concerns of well-being. For whales, the darkness of the ocean causes a reliance on echolocation and songs to navigate, hunt, and communicate. Human activities are transforming the soundscape of their underwater sanctuary. Ships, oil exploration, and marine construction have some of the largest factors in contributing to a loud ocean environment. In Western Australia, there are 5 main shipping ports: Fremantle, Kimberley, Midwest, Pilbara, and the Southern Port Authority. The Woodside CSIRO Ningaloo Outlook Phase 2 Marine Research Partnership is investing $7 million over 5 years into furthering new knowledge about the Ningaloo Coast World Heritage Area. This is a collaboration with Curtin University, conducting a proof-of-concept trial to verify the suitability of repurposing fiber optic cables. This will help detection of threatened and migratory whale species.
Does noise pollution and human activities affect humpback whale breeding?
Yes, it does. Pollution can interfere with humpback whales' breeding behaviour, especially during the winter months when they gather in warmer waters to give birth. So it can disrupt mating calls and even mother-calf bonding, and even cause displacement from the original places where they would do breeding.
At the moment, there is an environmental narrative surrounding underwater noise that blames large infrastructure such as ports and the many shipping routes that follow the coast of Western Australia. However, these activities are highly regulated, and companies can lose business and good government relations if they were to break these regulations. For example, a large container ship follows the same lines that are very clearly stated in their rules and regulations. There will always be motion and constant noise in these affected areas along the coast. However, it's clear that this constant noise does not affect humpback whales migrating, as their migration continues to move along these same lines. Due to the complexity of underwater noise, the ocean is nearly impossible to control. It is affected by seasons, substrate, and turbidity in the water. It is very hard to say that one is worse than the other. The ocean is also extremely loud without any added human interactions. However, we are going to be using the example of a dinghy versus a big ship. One dinghy going crazy and close to the whales, unregulated, is going to be far worse than a container ship that follows the exact same route all day, every day. It is all relative. Coastal areas and small boats are far more of an issue than the larger commercial ships that have to follow strict laws. Underwater noise pollution is relative. Marine reserves and sanctuaries along Western Australia's coast provide some relief. Researchers and conservationists are also pushing for regulations on noise levels, especially in key habitats and migration routes. We will be using CMAP Australia, a cumulative Ocean Noise Australia. These maps show the difference between shipping routes and the whale routes. Underwater noise pollution is like a never-ending storm for marine animals. Noise pollution can lead to stress, disorientation, and even physical harm in animals. It disrupts their migration, feeding, and breathing behaviours. It can drive them away from their natural habitats. We need to incentivize whale watchers to keep a safe distance from whales, which requires a mix of education, engagement, and rewards. We need them to see the benefits of respectful viewing. We think that it is very important to have educational programs that are brief and engaging, that talk about the impact of getting too close to whales and how stress can change their natural behaviour. We want to emphasise the importance of observing from a safe distance. We also want to make sure that they are getting rewarded for following these guidelines. Even if it's just a certification or a badge, captains and guides who are able to respect their distances should have some form of certification. We also know that if you watch whales from afar, you will often be able to see a more natural behaviour, which is better. Many whales are more likely to exhibit interesting behaviour and breaching if they feel less threatened, which can make it a more memorable experience. The whale watching industry will continue to exist and thrive. However, there is a responsibility to manage the impacts of noise pollution on whales. One innovation that helps to lessen the effects of human activity under the sea is a bubble curtain, designed to protect megafauna from wind farm construction. These are based on the idea that sound travels faster through water than through air, because water and air have different densities. When sound waves hit the bubble curtain, they slow down and break up, bouncing around the bubbles, resulting in a loss of energy. The remaining sound that emerges on the other side of the curtain is therefore quieter. Originally designed for offshore wind construction, the muffling effect benefits many animals as they all rely on sound, especially to navigate, communicate, and hunt. Through a study by Juristic in Germany, data has shown a noise reduction of over 99% at a distance of 750 metres. With the current Australian regulations of whale watching being no more than 100 metres, this curtain would definitely make a difference. If whale watching companies were to set up along the whale route with a bubble curtain around their vessel, they would be able to camp out and watch the whales in a more natural way, relieving stress off the whales and allowing them to migrate safely. A bubble curtain would be expensive and require the whale watching company to stay in one place, but the positive effects on the well-being of the animals would far outweigh these costs. Overall, we have discovered that the biggest issues come with regulations. There is simply not enough enforcement or the ability to enforce along the WA coast. Through education, however, we can encourage safer practices of whale watching that prioritise the well-being of whale migration, such as the bubble curtain.